Well, hello to my Sunday school friends. It is really nice to see you again. School has started here in Amherst and Nelsonville. I don't know where you are exactly, but probably school has started there for you as well. And I hope that you're having a wonderful time. You know, this is a time of your life where God wants you to learn and to grow and to practice the things that you need to know and do when you're an adult person. You know, sometimes adult people wonder if what we're doing pleases God, but you can know that if you're learning, if you're getting stronger, if you're taking care of your body, that you are pleasing God, and that is so cool. So I'm happy for you. I hope that you have a good year. I hope that you and your teachers get on well and that you can go forward. We'll be starting Sunday school soon. We'll get that information to you in the next week or so probably so that you know when we're starting, but we're going to let you get your feet underneath you at school first. And of course, we're going to keep doing these stories on videos. So we've been talking for a lot of weeks about the divided kingdom of Israel. Remember that after Solomon and after his sin, forgetting about God and worshiping idols, that most of the kingdom was taken away from his family, his descendants, but only a little bit was left because of God's love for David. So after Solomon, we have Rehoboam down in Judah. Rehoboam is Solomon's son down in Judah, the one tribe, the southern part of the divided kingdom. And then we have 10 tribes in the north under Jeroboam. And both Jeroboam and Rehoboam forgot to worship God. They both worshipped idols. They both encouraged their people to worship idols. And it just went from bad to worse, that God was deeply unhappy. After Rehoboam died in the southern kingdom, his son Abijam took over, but he only lasted 3 years, and he was a bad king too. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. He didn't honor God. He didn't obey God's commandments. He didn't tell the people the right thing to do. It just was bad. But surprisingly, Abijam's son, Asa, A-S-A, I think that's how it's said, was a good guy. And when he took over as king of the southern kingdom, the kingdom of Judah, he thought that people should worship the one true God. He thought it was really important. He commanded the people. He said, you need to stop worshiping idols. You need to worship the one true God. You need to keep God's commands. You need to keep God's laws. Let's get on this. And then he sent his servants out to tear down all of the idols that they could find, to smash all of the altars to false gods that they could find, to cut down the sacred groves. A sacred grove is trees that have been planted or around an idol or an idol's altar, so that's where people would go to church. So the servants of Asa cut them all down. They smashed the altars. They smashed the idols. They got rid of them all. And when they were done with that, Asa said, now let's fortify the cities of Judah. You know, let's actually do our jobs as government leaders. Let's make things better and safer for the people of God. And so that's what they did. That they got rid of all the idols. They made the cities safer, and the people loved it. They immediately started going back to the temple. They started doing what they were supposed to do, praying like they were supposed to pray, obeying like they were supposed to obey. Everything was good. And the whole society got better. Everything got better. There was money rolling in. Business was going well. People were happier. People were safer. It was good. Now, of course, outsiders noticed that things were going well in Judah, right? And so the Ethiopians, for example, decided that they were going to march on up to Judah with their big army, and they were going to sack some of these rich cities now and take some of this money back to Ethiopia. So they got their army together and they marched up, and Asa prayed to God and said, God, listen, you've helped my people in the past. You can help my tiny little army if you would choose to, but I got a tiny little army against this big army from Ethiopia, and I need your help. And God heard Asa's prayer. God saw that Asa was trying to be a good king. And when the day of the battle came, the Ethiopians, they were terrified. We don't know exactly what happened, except they were just terrified. And they actually ran away from the field of battle. And the army of Judah, this little tiny army, with God's blessing, picked up all their fallen weapons, went to their camp, picked up all their stuff, while the Ethiopians ran all the way back to Ethiopia. It was a huge victory, and people noticed that God was with Asa, and that just reinforced this idea that they should go to the temple, that they should do what they were commanded by God to do. And it wasn't just the people of Judah that noticed this. It was the people of Israel too. And so we start having people filtering down from Israel, going back to the temple in Jerusalem, praying the prayers that they should pray, living in keeping with God's commandments, doing what they're supposed to do. It was a very, very good time in Judah. And it was an interesting time too, because Asa, he really was serious about obeying. He found out that his grandmother was still worshiping one of her false gods deep into this program of his, and he was really angry about it. So he did a couple of things. He took her false god and he smashed it, and then he had it taken out of the city and burned. He got rid of her altar, and he said that she couldn't be the queen mother anymore. That's a title that sometimes royalty have that gives them extra power and extra privileges. And Asa took that away from his own grandmother. You're being a bad example to the people, and we're not going to have that. Can you imagine what our world would be like if all of our governmental leaders were concerned about being good examples to the people that they have responsibility for? Everything would change. Everything would be better. Well, Asa was that guy, at least for a while. Next time we get together, we'll see if he continues to be that guy. But he certainly had a good start, and he lived into this thing that we've seen over and over, where God tells the kings, if you follow me, I will bless you. If you don't, I will take your kingdom from you. So now we're fat in the middle of blessing time. And let's see what happens next. You take care. You study hard. I can't wait to see you. Bye-bye.